some media availability yesterday, of course, virtually, with LSU quarterback Myles Brennan. Just a little bit I guess, some things that he had done with Cody Worsham near the end of the first football school or whatever. But for the most part, the players are just getting back now, and we're getting a chance to talk to them for the first time. So, what do you you find yourself? You're the LSU quarterback, and you got to be isolated. And I think that the last thing that the LSU quarterback would want to do in the summer before his first year as a starter was be isolated. But that's what was, that's what Myles Brennan had to do for the most part. And now he's got a schedule that outside of the actual football practice keeps him pretty much isolated.
I do live by myself, which is nice in terms of, going through all this stuff right now. But yeah, when I get done with football, I'm going back to my apartment. I'm eating dinner. I'm watching film. I'm studying. And other than that, I'm waking up and I'm going right back to football, and fortunately I do have online classes, so I won't have to, be on campus as much, which is nice. But yeah, it has been nice not having to worry as much about being exposed to the outside community.
So this is Myles Brennan's life, right? He's living alone, and he's having classes online.
Right.
So this is literally get up, and all you're doing is go to the football ops building for practice, and your day, and then you go home, and you're by yourself. That's what he has to do, but that's the exact approach that he has taken. And I know it sounds like, oh well, you just got to do that, man. Look, when you fall into that routine, and that's not a normal routine for an LSU quarterback. I know it was for Burrow last year, but that was kind of a special case, fifth-year senior. Ordinarily, this would have been a guy that would have been around, all these players, all these extra summer workouts, all of those things that you would normally do, football camps and all that stuff. And instead, this is what he's done, but he's taken a very regimented approach to it.
I think it's going to be beneficial for him. I'll be honest with you. It might not be ideal, but even the safety part of it, obviously, that's the main concern. But secondarily, you're talking about the schedule that is a pro quarterback schedule, because in the NFL, man, you're at the facility from 5 in the morning until 6 at night. That's just what it is. And so you drive home, you eat dinner, you might catch a little bit of whatever game's on, you go to sleep, and you do it again. Rinse, wash, repeat. That's what an NFL quarterback does during the season. And so everyone I've at least, even the backups, that's what they do. And so it might not be the most lively lifestyle, but that's exactly what you would want to see your quarterback schedule look like, if I'm honest with you, because now you've got schoolwork to do, but he's already graduated. So the things that he's doing is not going to be like it's a full load. It's not going to be 15 or 18 hours or anything like that. And he's going to concentrate on football. He's going to basically watch film and prepare for whatever opponent that he has coming up. And I thought it was beneficial for Joe Burrow last year. Think about how distracting it would have been for Joe Burrow to have to be on campus last year.
Oh, I don't imagine he could go pick up food anywhere, much less be on campus.
I saw Joe at a gas station, and right after I think it was the Alabama game, and Joe was in there, and he was buying like a candy bar or something, and all you could see, like, he had his hoodie on, he had his beanie on, all you could see was barely any part
because it would have taken him 45 minutes to get gas, but by the time he's signing autographs and somebody calls somebody and says, hey, are you close? You can come by and get a picture with Joe Burrow. I mean, it would have taken him an hour to get the candy bar and 15 gallons unleaded.
It'd have been a little fun, but it would have been a distraction as well.
Well, if you have to do that every time you go out in public. If you want to look at the one silver lining to this thing is there are, I guess, less distractions, temptations, if you want to call them, okay? I mean, all of those social things that the students usually do, not all of them, but a lot of them have been, curtailed or, outright canceled. Myles Brennan also talked about his comfort with the offense and what he's best at in this scheme.
Yeah, I feel really, really, really comfortable with the whole playbook. And I know that sounds crazy, but this playbook reminds me so much of what I did in high school. In terms of, RPOs and having that run pass option and throwing the ball downfield and being able to just really put the ball in our playmakers' hands and let them go make plays is the biggest thing. So I've felt very comfortable up until this point with the playbook and where we stand and where we're headed.
You hear RPO with him, and all the talk of him is always started with his arm and what a good arm he's got. A better arm than Burrow by most accounts, but he's more athletic, I think, than maybe some people think.
Okay, so obviously you have your running quarterbacks who they have the high ability to be able to have design runs, but then you also have your quarterbacks that are good in the pocket, then can escape pressure, and they can get you positive yardage whenever the play calls for it. And I thought Joe Burrow was a perfect example of that a year ago. Now, you had some design quarterback runs, but for the most part, when Joe picked up yards on the ground, it's because he knew where to step up in the pocket, what his offensive line was giving him, and he was a smart football player and picked up yards. So you don't have to run a 4.5 to go out there and pick up yards on the ground. So I do think Myles has more athletic ability. I think a lot of people just automatically cross him off as far as a runner because they saw his frame and they thought maybe he wouldn't be able to take the hits. And so that's something that I know he's been working on, because there's going to be times within the play calling that he has to pull the ball. He does have to run it because part of that RPO is the ability for the quarterback to do so. So I definitely think it's something that he can handle. You're not going to specialize in it, Haney, but it's not like he's got two concrete feet out there.
One of the things I thought that made Burrow so infuriating for defenses to defense last year was the fact that on those occasions, and there weren't a lot, but where you got everybody covered, you're in the right personnel grouping, and they had Chase doubled or they had Marshall doubled, and somebody out of the backfield had taken Clyde, and the protection held up for him, and he just couldn't find anybody, and he'd take off and get that first down. When everybody was he had just burned them so many times and completed so many balls in a row. It's like, we finally got everybody locked down, and he scrambles for 14 yards on 3rd down and 7. If you can do that, to me, that's the backbreaker. That's the Steve Young. That's the Lamar Jackson. I don't know how many design runs we're going to give you. It's that, man, when things break down, I'm going to bust you. I'm going to make on that 3rd down. When I finally get everybody covered, that quarterback's going to bust you. He's going to scramble for that 1st down with the one thing that you can't cover. And if you do, he's still got the ability to outrun you, make you miss. Now, I'm not suggesting that Brennan is either one of those guys. That's not the comparison I'm making. What I'm saying is that ability to run when you absolutely have to, I just thought was a portion of Burrow's game last year that took him even higher than what he had been.
And the reason he was able to do that is because he knew where to step up, when he had to roll out. You'll see some quarterbacks, Haney, that whenever there's pressure, they just automatically roll out of the pocket. Well, that's setting your tackle up for disaster because you're rolling right into the guy who's rushing up the field. A lot of college quarterbacks don't have the ability to find the holes within the pass protection. Joe did it as well as I've ever seen in college football. That's something that Myles has to be good at. Myles has to know exactly where the rush is coming from. So if I'm taking the snap and they're bringing free safety Will off the backside, well, I know that I don't need to be rolling out that way. Or if they're bringing Sam strong safety, well, I don't need to roll right into that. No, the weak part of the defense, because everybody's sliding that way, there's going to be a gap on this side of the football. I have to know that if I step up, it has to be here and not allow the instinct of panicking and trying to roll to your right because you're a right-handed quarterback. Joe understood that. Now we're going to see, does Myles understand that? Because it's not the athletic ability of being able to go out there and be a track guy. It's the athletic ability to have the quick twitch muscles to be able to hold the ball high and tight so you don't fumble, and not only step up in that hole that we're talking about, but either step up and make the decision, do I run or do I continue to look downfield? And so those things are the things that you have to be athletic in the pocket, not necessarily be a guy that's going to go out there and hit a home run.
If you're great, you can do both. Burrow was able to do both. The one play that I think exemplifies that, the first touchdown against Ole Miss, when he hit Jamar Chase, he made that throw running forward, and it looked like to all the world, including me watching on television, well, he's gonna take off. He's got some yards here. No, he's gonna chuck it down the field and he's gonna get a touchdown. So if you can do both, you become a very dangerous person. Very, very difficult to defend.